Hello everyone, Alvine here. So I have decided to upload my very first video to YouTube again after like a year and a half, maybe more. I was just gonna like jump on and quickly do this for Instagram, and then I was like, you know what, fuck it, like let's just get something uploaded to YouTube. I've only uploaded like another 2 videos to Instagram, so I don't feel like I've been, you know, skipping out of new. I am planning on like coming back to YouTube, but just not yet. I'm going to be doing that in the new year. And like I wanted to do like first like a catch-up video, because like it feels weird like coming back and like not saying all the things of where I've been or whatever, you know, first for all of you who are like, oh, what the fuck. But you know what, this is just what it is. I don't know, I figured that you guys would enjoy an altar tour video, since I kind of felt like doing that. I suppose it's better than nothing. So this is what we're just going to begin with. So this is my altar. I've lit it all up for you right now to just have a quick peek, but it's quite warm today, so I'm going to go ahead and blow out all these candles before we get into like talking about everything, because I can already feel how much warmer it is in this room with the candles on. So I've actually moved house. This is my new house, my new crib. I'll give you a quick shot of like this side of the room. Things are about to change around and move, which is why I thought I'd do an altar tour today. I'm shifting my altar to the other wall, and inevitably it will change up. Like there have been times where I'm like, oh, I'll just move it, but I'll keep everything the same, and of course that doesn't happen. Like it always has to change. So I thought, you know what, I'll share this. Altar tours are always really fun, and it's been a hell of a year, and so I don't know, this is my little offering to you. I hope you enjoy. Let's go in and have a chat, shall we? Gosh, I feel like I have so much to talk to you about. I like don't even know where to begin on my altar. I'm like, I want to talk about all this other stuff, but like at the same time, gosh, what a year and a half it's been, you guys. Let's just begin, all right? Let's just jump in and like do this thing, and like we have all the time in the world to catch up and do all the stuff, like it's coming. First of all, I have my Women Who Run with the Wolves book here. I love this book for bibliomancy. This is one of my favorite books. So bibliomancy, for those of you who don't know, is simply when you connect in as you would with any form of divination. You ask for guidance and you flip open a page and read a passage and see what it says to you. And I think in my experience personally, Women Who Run with the Wolves is one of the best books for bibliomancy. It just always seems to give you something, you know. I mean, you can do it with literally any book you want, and it's fascinating, and it's a really easy form of divination. So if you're wanting to get more into divination or try something new, but perhaps, you know, if you are new, the thought is a little bit daunting, bibliomancy is a really wonderful one that you can just pick up at any point and dive right in. So I recommend that highly. And next we have my crocodile skull here. Oh my goodness, I love my crocodile skull. This for me holds Baba Yaga swamp energy. There are various myths about Baba Yaga, and she is a figure. I was going to say deity. She's not really a deity, although I think of her as a deity, but she's a mythological figure who lives in various locations in the forest. So one of the places in some stories that she inhabits is the swamp. So I sort of have that there, and his jaw or her jaw is held open with a selenite, and I loved that. Like I play with different things, like, you know, I think an altar for me is very much about practicality. And you'll probably notice that if you've been watching me for a long time and have kept up with altar tours, that my altars have changed quite a bit now. I didn't realize this, but I stumbled across one of my videos actually when I was doing some research for something else, and one of my old altar tours popped up, and looking at it I was like, wow, like I altar so differently now, you know. It's really quite interesting. Anyway, just so a mix of practicality, but also function. and also like beauty, you know, like things that are interesting and fill me with inspiration. So anyway, an open-jawed crocodile is one of those things. Now I have blown it out, but this is my working candle here. So I usually have this candle going when I'm doing spell work. I really like using black candles for this, and I've found some good sources for black candles. So I actually have a decent stack of black candles now. These used to be so difficult for me to find, and then I did manage to find some in my local store where I used to live, and they were black tapers, so that was really cool. Although I no longer have access to coloured tapers, and now I have black pillars, and I still actually have a stash of black tapers. But it's interesting because I've moved, so there's like things that I got really used to purchasing or having on hand for my craft, you know, things that were around that area. One example is orange blossom water. That was something I loved using in my practice, and I would give that as an offering to my spirits for a good year or more. I think I discovered it about a year before I moved, and gosh, I loved it so much. So I would always use that. And then when I moved down here, like I cannot find it anywhere, which drives me absolutely nuts. And there's, you know, certain candles that I got really used to using that I could find up where I used to live. And down here, they're different. And some of them down here are awesome. Like there are black tea lights in one of my local stores here, although they've been out for a while. Only in the last few weeks have I been able to go shopping again. I live in Melbourne in Australia, and we have been locked down we weren't able to go shopping for, I think it was 3 months. I'm wondering if it was 3 or 4. Honestly, I don't even know. Like, who knows? Like, all this time has just run in together, right? Like, it's been such a weird fucking year. But yeah, black tea lights. But I went there the other day to get some, and the lady said in a few weeks they'll be back. So that's awesome. But anyway, so there's like different stuff that's available to me now. So I'm kind of changing it up. So, you know, there's always this conversation about like, I even got asked the other day, like, what Australian native plants do you use, right? Like what's local to your area? And I actually think those are two different questions. In Australia, or at least where I live, there is a lot of non-native plants, right? So the things that are local to me, the things that are literally on my land, on my tiny piece of land here. I have a really big house now, which is super cool. It's a real blessing, but tiny courtyard out the back, right? And like a little strip of garden along the house. So what's local to me is different to what's native to Australia, if that makes sense. So anyway, just expanding on that idea is like, what is local to you as in what can you purchase? Like what do your stores sell? Like what stores do you have around you? Anyway, that's just kind of been interesting to navigate, I guess. I used to live here in this suburb when I first started practicing, and before I moved up to my other house where all of my videos were filmed, you know, where I met you guys and where we've hung out before. But yeah, I mean, I wasn't buying a whole lot of stuff when I was down here. Like I was living with my in-laws, so I had to be very secret and all that sort of stuff. And I was still new, you know, so I was buying crystals and things like that. But, you know, I was buying different things. But yeah, it's just really interesting. Like my practice has hugely changed. Like that was, I mean, I was in the other house for 5 years. So, you know, it's been a minute. Anyway, so working candle, black candles. Have you missed me and all of my talking? Now here we've zoomed out to have a look at this incredible thing that I discovered on eBay. It's a birch tree and it's like wire bendy stuff, and I got it because I'm doing a Yule live with my spellcasting club, and I wanted like a Christmas tree, you know, for the background, something Christmassy, especially because like just to kind of bring in those vibes, you know, of Yule. It's weird in Australia because we actually have Christmas in summer. Like, you know, it's Christmas at the same time, obviously it is in the rest, as it is in the rest of the world, but it's the middle of summer. And I know that like just trips some people out. Like, how can you have Christmas in the middle of summer? But it's obviously normal for us. Like, it's how we grew up, you know, although we very much grew up, of course, with all of the American movies and all that sort of stuff. So we know, we're very aware that it's supposed to be the middle of winter. Anyway, so it's this weird blending down here of Yule and Christmas very much feels like Christmas down here rather than Yule, if that makes sense. And I know some people split it, some people combine it, like it's just a thing. Anyway, but I wanted a Christmas tree. And then I saw these and I was like, holy shit, like I will keep that on my altar all year and I can just decorate it for the season, perhaps, something like that. But I just absolutely love it. So I've got little baubles on it now and it's ready for Yule, even though we are in, it's November. I'm trying to think, I don't even know what the date is. Mid 20s of November, something like that. Somewhere around there. So yeah, anyway, I've got that ready and set up and like I love it so much. I like turned on the lights and I was like, holy, like, because it was really different to what I thought. Like, you know, the pictures always make it look better, and it looks amazing in the camera, I've got to say. But yeah, as soon as I turned the lights on, I was like, oh my god, like I'm just so in love. Anyway, so that's my birch tree, and I really love birch trees. I've always wanted to have my own little birch trees. Where I used to live, there was some sort of in the next street that I was able to kind of access, but I want those like little ones that grow in people's yards and they're just so gorgeous. Maybe one day. I don't really have the room here to have, maybe I could sacrifice some space and grow a small tree. I don't know, we'll see. There is some room at the very front of the house, sort of there's a lawn bit, but we're actually planning on, we're halfway through renovating part of the house so that we can rent it out. So that front lawn area is going to be someone's car park. So that kind of sucks. So I can't really do anything with that right now, but maybe in a few years when that's like done, I might I don't know, I might plant some trees. That's the idea. I'd love like a little pretty garden out there, but anyway, we'll see. And then at the back you can see my Scully. He's super cool with a plant in it. Now I've got a bunch of fake plants in this room. I can't actually grow real plants in here because there just isn't enough light. In my other room where I used to be, there was so much light. It was so beautiful. And that was bad for other reasons. It would get super hot in that room. Like it was so, like just whatever the temperature was outside is what it was in that room because it had windows on two sides of the house. So it would literally get all of the morning sun and all of the afternoon sun. So sorry, in winter it was gorgeous because it was nice and warm. But yeah, in summer, oh my God, it was a nightmare. So this house is great in summer, but there's just so little light. I'm on the opposite side of the house to where the sun does anything. Although I've noticed, it's interesting seeing how the light moves and works in this place, like, you know, learning these different things. But actually the afternoon sun does come into this room in summer. So, and then in winter, the morning sun is reflected into this room off the house next door. The house next door is like super close, which is also really bizarre. And I can tell that this is going to be, it's going to be a challenge filming here when I really get into it again because there are kids next door. Like they're literally a meter outside of my room and they'll play basketball there. Like it's so loud. Anyway, these things. Okay, moving along. Over on the side here, this little cup is filled with ocean treasures. So these are different things that I've collected from various beaches, you know, that I have visited. I actually live right by the ocean again. That's been really fantastic. The element of water was definitely calling me, and it's been really good to move back down by the beach. It's interesting because like I said, I lived here before for a couple of years before we moved inland to the other house that I was at, which was also right by the water. We had the lake there. Yeah, but I'd never lived by the ocean before until that time, and I never thought that I would miss it. But when we moved, I really deeply missed the ocean. Even though I don't go that often, and usually when I do it's at night, and I don't go swimming because I'm a fucking weirdo like that. I'm goth like that. Yeah, it just, I don't know, there's something very, I don't think steadying is the right word because that's like earth, but there's something very balancing having the water there. I have quite a lot of water in my chart. Predominantly I'm fire and then water, and then I have hardly any earth or air in my natal chart. So water's big for me, and water is my chart ruler as well. I'm a Cancer rising. So the moon, definitely a moon baby. But anyway, so ocean stuff. And then in there, that colourful, gorgeous fan thing you can see there was made by Earthly Alchemy. Should I show you? I should show you close up, shouldn't I? Here it is. Look at that. Check it out. I got one of Earthly Alchemy's boxes for myself as a gift last month, or this month? Start of this month. I bought it last month, got it this month. Not a detail that matters, but anyway, yeah, and this was one of the items in there, and it's absolutely stunning. I love the colors. Look at that blue. Oh, so beautiful. And I love the details on it as well. It's just gorgeous. Elder is an incredible artisan. And then next to that we have this little bird thing. I don't know if I've shared that with you guys before or not. Most of you, by the way, welcome to everyone who's new. All of you who have subscribed to me since I have been away. Some of you may or may not recognize the bird. I don't know. I keep petition papers in there. So I have brown paper bags, white paper bags that I keep in there, always imbuing on the altar. I don't always use those for petition papers. I've got some other paper that I like to use, and sometimes I just use what I have or whatever, you know what I mean? Like just, yeah, things. I use various papers, but these are kind of like, yeah, special ones that are always like on the altar imbuing. And then in front of that, look at my beautiful mortar and pestle. So this is, I was gonna say my newest. It's not my newest anymore because I have a slight problem. And I counted my mortar and pestles the other day, and it's not the biggest collection. There are definitely people with larger collections, but I have 9. I have 9 mortar and pestles. I love them. They're like one of my favorite tools I have discovered. Anyway, I saw this one in a store, or right before the isolation, that's what we call it, ISO. Lockdown began here, the heavier lockdown where we, you know, all stores closed and, you know, the super fucked stuff. Anyway, I saw it and I was like, oh, I really like this, but, you know, I was like, I don't need it, you know, I don't know, I'll come back in a few weeks and I'll grab it, right? And then ISO, so I was like, oh, fuck. And it was something that just sort of stayed in my head, you know, I was like, oh, I really like that mortar and pestle. And then when stores opened about a month ago, I went into the store, and a different store, and I saw it and I was like, oh, I'm getting it. Oh my god, you know, so I was really excited. Anyway, I got that and I love it, and it's quite large as well, so it's a good size. And I like these stone ones. Like when I say I have 9 mortar and pestles, not all of them are working mortar and pestles. One of them is broken. I was shattered about it. It's like a crystal one, and I found it in a charity store, an op shop, and I was so excited. And then I had it sitting right on the corner of my altar, and I knocked it off one day. I can't remember, yeah, anyway, it doesn't even matter the story, does it? But yeah, it knocked it off, and the pestle, so the phallic part, cracked open the mortar. So I was very devastated. And then I've got several which are wooden mortar and pestles, so I don't find those particularly practical. They are good for softer stuff, but I prefer to use stone because they can do everything, you know. So anyway, I have that there. Now behind it, I've got a bunch of brews and things. So I've got whiskey in that bottle there. So when I give whiskey to Baba Yaga every week, and whatever is left in the glass, I put into this bottle, and I'll use for different spell work or formulas, or, you know, whatever that I need whiskey for. But I feel like it's blessed then. Like I still want to use it. I feel like it's okay to get rid of these things. Like it's okay to like pour them on the earth as a libation or dispose of them in whatever way that, you know, is correct for you. But I feel it should be used. I feel that it's better for it to be used. You know, it's wasteful not to. So I figure, you know, I have that there. As you can see, it's quite full. I don't always have a lot of ideas or inspiration for using whiskey other than for offerings, and I don't re-offer the whiskey offering, if that makes sense. So over here I keep plate with a bunch of oils on it because they do drip and get messy. I usually, or used to, keep them on quite a large platter thing along with all of my incense burning stuff. I have that over the other side, and I don't keep them on there anymore because I have quite a few things that I like to keep on the altar. This thing right here, okay, this changed my life. See this little squirty bottle right here? This I have put my Florida water into. Oh my god. So I've got bottles of Florida water, and I use it for various things. I cleanse myself, I use it for offerings, I, you know, do various things with it. Mostly for cleansing though, cleansing myself and cleansing items, spellwork items or tools or whatever. But then one day I had this brilliant idea. I can't remember why, like what I was using it for, but I was like, oh, I'll put this in the little squirty bottle. And it's incredible. It's just changed my whole life. Like, it's so easy now to, like, you know, cleanse different things and use it in that way rather than like tipping it into my hand or tipping it onto the object and then rubbing it over or whatever. Like, I love it. Little tip for anyone who, I don't know, maybe that's something that's really obvious, but I just feel like it's completely changed the game for me. And then I've got a few other bits and pieces down there as well. Now also at the back over here, we talked about the whiskey. I've also got a bottle of ocean water there. So I collected that down from my local beach and I'm doing something pretty cool with it. I'll show you over the other side. I'm actually extracting my own sea salt. This was an accidental discovery that just happened the other day and I was like, oh my God. So I'm super excited about that. So I've got actual sea salt. Very cool. And then in the green bottle right there, I've got oleander oil. So this was inspiration from the Lady Grave Dancer. So I'm going to link her video about oleander down below. She's got 2 videos on oleander. She's got how to make oleander oil and then about oleander itself. I don't know, I'll just link the oleander oil one probably, and if you guys want you can go and look at, you know, all the properties of oleander that she shared. But it was really funny how it happened, like, because I had seen this video of hers like forever ago, and then I moved here and then I was walking around the streets and I was like, there's this plant, right? And I was like, oh, this is a really cool plant and there's so many of them around here, and I'm like, I wonder if it's that tree that the Lady Grave Dancer spoke about forever ago. I don't know why, like, that's not, it's a weird association, right? Like, just to like think that. But yeah, I don't know, there was like this connection that happened because it was a plant that, like, when I listened to her talk about it, like, yeah, I had no familiarity with it. Like, I had no idea what it was, but yeah, anyway, it just stuck in and I love oleander. Oh my God. There's different colored ones around here, which is cool. So there's white, pink. I haven't seen purple yet. Mostly pink, I think, around here. But some white ones as well. And is there any other color? I think that's all. They're just starting to flower again, but I'm walking at night, so I don't see them. I actually went a little bit earlier the other day and I was like, oh my God, all the oleander's flowering now, because I can't see it at night. Like, I walk past them all and, you know, I'm like, I don't know. Anyway, I'm a vampire these days. I go out at night and, you know, I just much prefer it, especially as it's getting warmer. So I've got that there, and then I've got a big bottle of freshly brewed Four Thieves vinegar. So I love Four Thieves vinegar. It's an awesome formula. If you guys aren't familiar with it, it's super easy to look up. You can find recipes, but I made some time ago and I absolutely love it. So anyway, I recently finished brewing up a fresh batch. All right, and here we have a bunch more bits and pieces, formula things that I am charging as well. So this is my chargy stand. I don't know. It doesn't have a name. And in there I have created some charging salt. So maybe shall I zoom you in? Should we have a little look? Let's do that. Okay, so you can see in there, I won't tell you everything that's in it, but the base is Himalayan salt. I really love Himalayan salt. I've got like several packets that I like to use for anything where I require salt that is for positive purposes, I guess. Like, so okay, so I'll use like normal salt for like cleansing, and then I like Himalayan salt for, I'm gonna say, for like anything that's for building. You know, anything to do with heart center, soul center, that sort of thing. Anything that's like giving to, anything that's kind of projective, I guess. I like pink Himalayan salt for. And then yeah, standard salt for cleansing. But anyway, so I have that in there. Do you guys want to hear a super gross story? This is the life of a witch. So I was making these salts a few weeks ago, and one of the ingredients, I was adding ingredients, right? Tell the story, right? So I was adding ingredients. There was like 5 or 6 ingredients that I had in there. Anyway, so I'm like mixing it all up, putting these ingredients, and like it was looking gorgeous, right? Like so beautiful, and I was like so happy with it. It was a nice, decent sized batch, and then I look in there and I see this little bug, and I was like, oh, that's a bit weird. And then I look and there's another bug, and then I move the mixture around and there's more bugs. There's all these bugs in there, and I was like, ah, what the fuck, right? So I'm like, oh crap, like one of my herbs has obviously got bugs in it. So I didn't know which one. And so I'm like looking through the jars, and then I pick up, I was devastated. I pick up my calendula jar, marigold, and I look in there and it's just infested with these little bug things. Like, I don't know when the fuck that happened, because I had used it a few weeks prior and I'm pretty sure it was fine then. Certainly no bugs that I could see, you know. So I was just like, what the hell? It grossed me out. Ugh, you know how you like, you know when you like, okay, you know when you talk about lice? You know when you say the word lice, like I'm saying to you now, lice, and then it makes you feel itchy and you're like, oh, they're on me, you know? That's how it was like that. It was super gross. So I was absolutely devastated. Had to get rid of my calendula, obviously, and the batch of charging salts that I had made, and make a new batch. But anyway, I have calendula now. I have a fresh batch of calendula, so it's totally fine. But like, I was just like, no. And I love calendula. It's one of my most favorite ingredients, I think. It's one of my most favorite herbs. Very sunshine energy, excellent for success. That's usually what I predominantly use it for. So I really love calendula. Anyway, it's all fine now, but that happened. So I don't know how. And my husband's like, look, like, you know, it takes one little egg. And I'm like, yeah, but where the fuck the egg come from? Like, you know, it's just been, anyway, I checked my other jars around it. Everything's fine. But, anyway, very weird. Check your jars from time to time, people, because, you know. But I've got to say, in the about 5 years that I've been collecting and using herbs a lot, this is the first time that's ever happened to me. So, still confused as to how it happened. It was a very airtight jar. So anyway, I don't know. So that was a little bit of an ordeal. But these things happen. So here I have my charging salts, and I've got a few different things on there at the moment, just different formulas that I've made. And I have a few things here. I've got, where are we? Where's my finger? Ooh, there's my finger. At the back there, I have some sand from my local beach as well. So I'm sending that to a couple of friends. So yeah, so I have the charging and brewing as well. Now that plant in there, I just realized I didn't talk about that, and the one down here, those are tomato stems. I got this fabulous idea from Jen, the Taxidermy Witch, here on YouTube, and she actually uses the ends of them for protection because they're pentagrams, sorry. They're 5 pointed stars, and I was like, oh my god, that's fucking brilliant. So I like to use them for their pentagram. And so I just have those drying out now, and I'm enjoying the aesthetic of the tomato stem in the charging salts. And the other one's just on the ground because, like, on the ground, but you know, there because it finished brewing and I haven't moved it yet, so I don't know, it's just there. I normally would probably tidy up my altar a bit more. It's pretty tidy today, but yeah, it's just there. And then I have 2 little crystals over there. I mean, there's 3, but the 2 at the back there are carnelian and lapis lazuli, and those were in the witch's chest that I got from Earthly Alchemy as well. So I just have them sitting there. We're getting to know each other, you know, brewing in the altar goodness. And then I have a labradorite right there, and that was a gift from my dear friend Noah Tempestarii, and labradorite is a stone of magic and power, and I really love to have it near me, you know, in any magical space that I have. And that one in particular, you know, it was given to me in love, and so it's really special to me. So I always keep it either on my altar or close by somewhere, you know, on my desk, something like that. But yeah, it's been on my altar for quite some time now. And then behind that, I have these 2 little tinctures. So these are actually by Aquarius Nation. These are fabulous. Really fabulous. So there is Empath Shield and Lightning Bolt. Let's go and have a look, actually. Why not? So these are herbal tinctures that she's come up with. She actually has, I think there's probably 8 or 9, maybe more. They're really powerful and they work really, really well. So Empath Shield is what it sounds like. It's fantastic for anyone who's struggling with anxiety, or who just is an empath, obviously, who struggles with keeping other people's energy out of their space, keeping sovereign in their own space. Each purchase comes with a little pamphlet which actually has a, what's it called? Like affirmation, and the affirmations are incredible, especially for the Empath Shield. I would love to share it with you, but I kind of feel like that's her work, you know, like it's a real portion of the magic of this. So it doesn't feel right to actually share it, but I can highly recommend her products. She's done some fantastic stuff, and she's on Instagram too, you guys. She does like astrology, and she's really brilliant. KV, her name is Kellyanna Vanzo. Is that right? I don't know if that's correct. Anyway, she's amazing, and I've followed her work for many years. She always calls herself KV. That's why I don't actually know her name, because it's like, oh, I love her so much, don't know her name. But yeah, anyway, she's incredible. Really switched on and does beautiful work. So I love her tinctures as well. And I've been working with the Empath Shield. I was working with it earlier this year, and then I stopped for quite a while because we were in ISO. And I've noticed since coming out of ISO, my anxiety has actually gone up quite a lot, which really sucks, like social anxiety. And that's not something that I enjoy admitting or talking about, really, to be honest. It's something that I will always support other people through. And like, yeah, it's never anything that I would think is a bad thing for someone else. Do you know what I mean? But like for myself, I'm like, but anyway, so I'm having a thing with that right now. So Empath Shield is helping, and I'm kind of building up, I guess, my resilience again. I mean, I've lost a lot of it because I have been blissfully at home for however many months. It was annoying in some regards, but in many regards, I really enjoyed it. And just the way things have worked out for us this year are like, yeah, we've been really held, really blessed, and we're really lucky. If we had have stayed in our other house, it would have been an absolute fucking nightmare, to be honest. But in this house, we have enough space to both work. So I have my own room, as I did before, but this room is like so much bigger than the other one, which, you know, doesn't really matter. Like, I'm happy with cozy, you know, that's why I still have this giant furniture. Like, I've got all this huge furniture now, which still makes the room feel really small. But my husband also has a room where he can work now, because he works at home for this juncture as well. Anyway, we've just been very blessed. I don't remember why I was going on that tangent. Anxiety. So anyway, it's been a blessing being at home for many reasons. And I'm very lucky to say that, and very blessed to say that. But yeah, coming back out, yeah, anxiety isn't fun. It sucks because it's stuff that I dealt with so many years ago. Like, you know, we go in spirals with this stuff, but it's shit that I was dealing with years ago, you know, like just horrible bodily sensations, and they're back again, and it's fucking annoying. And like, yeah, I'm needing some help dealing with it. So Empath Shield is good. And we're getting through it. And, you know, it's just a challenge that I didn't want to go through again, you know, and I am, and it is what it is. But yeah, so that's a thing. Shall we move on? Now down here we have some oils and some Four Thieves vinegar brewing. This is for the same friends as well. So I just have those there charging while I'm getting ready to send them. And then in the center here, I have a glass of water. So this is like the cornerstone of my daily practice. This is something that I started doing, I don't know, 2 or 3 years ago, something like that now. And I do this every single day. And this is what has helped me to really expand my practice and feel connected, and to actually develop a daily practice. And all it is I put a fresh glass of water on my altar every single day. Now, I have found the key to doing a daily practice regularly, being able to stick with it and be able to get the benefits of sticking with it, is to choose something that's really easy. So on your very worst days, you can do this thing. That's the key. So we all want, like, oh, we want to like pull cards and journal and like meditate and like do this and like light incense and blah 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 and all the things. But often we don't stick with that sort of thing, because inevitably there are days where we're busy, or we're sick, or shit happens, you know, life happens, or we're not home, or like whatever it is, you know, and we quote unquote fall off the bandwagon of doing these big elaborate practices, and then we feel like a failure, and then it like rolls into this snowball, and then we're like not doing daily practice, and then we're sitting there going, oh my god, I wish I was a better witch. If I was, I'd be doing daily practice. So instead, we can set ourselves up for success by keeping it really fucking simple. Really simple. So it doesn't have to be doing this, like putting out a glass of water. It can be lighting an incense stick, or it can be pulling a card, or it can be just something, you know, just something simple. It can be going outside and putting your feet on the ground. You know, whatever it is, choose one simple thing that you can do even on your worst day, and do it every single day. And that repetition is so powerful. Like, it creates a foundation. It creates a deep connection, and it gives you confidence, I guess. It gives you real confidence in your practice, I think, to have some kind of cornerstone like that. Something so simple, and that you can then say to yourself, like, look, like, I have a daily practice, you know, if that's something you want. By the way, you don't have to have a daily practice. Like, that is not a thing. Your magic is your magic, and you do your thing. There is, God, so much. There's just so much on the internet now where everyone's telling each other what to do, and it's a little exhausting. So do your thing. But if you would like to have a daily practice, that has been the key for me, is one simple thing. So my practice now has expanded, but honestly, for at least a year, if not more, it was just that. And you know what? Some days it is still just that. Or some weeks. I usually go in sort of cycles. So some weeks it will just remain as that. And now, you know, I sort of say a little prayer and, you know, this sort of thing. I've got, you know, it's a little developed now, but the glass of water. So why I like putting a glass of water on my altar is because it is said that spirits are conducted through water. Like, they are more able to move into this realm when water is present. So I invite my spirits with this glass of water to be in this space. I have a separate ancestor altar now, which is very cool. That's sort of, I've had that for a couple of months now, and I'm sort of playing around with that. And I actually put a separate glass of water on their altar. It is said that the ancestors are always thirsty, or the dead are always thirsty. So that's another thing as well. Anyway, just if you are interested in that. And then next to that, I have a lovely carnelian chunk there. That was a little gift for myself at the start of the year. I love carnelian so much. So I saw that there is actually a crystal store which is local to me, which is like amazing. But I mean, I haven't been there since, you know, pre-COVID outbreak, so they would be open again now. I haven't been there for a long time, but anyway, last time I was there, I got this crystal. The only thing that sucks about that store though is it's a garden store as well as they have crystals, quite a lot of crystals, but they've got all the shitty crystals like out accessible on the table, so you can like see them properly and touch them and whatever. And like, I get why they've done this, but it's really annoying. And then all of the really nice crystals are behind glass, so they've got like this big hallway of like fossils and crystals and minerals and all these different things. So some of them you can see the prices, and some you can't because of where the stickers are, and like you can't hold it and feel it out. So you've actually got to go and get someone that works there and say, hey, I'd like to look at this crystal. But then they're like standing there with you. Like, I don't know, I like to touch and to connect with, like, do I want this piece? I'd like to know the price, of course, obviously, as well, especially in Australia. Shit's expensive. But you know, to actually hold it and get to know it. So it's like, you know, if you pick it up, you're like, oh, I don't really want that one. Like, can I try that one? Can I do that one? And look, most people, well, a lot of people don't care about being annoying. It's like, well, I'm the customer, and like, you know, I'm going to take up your time and do this thing. But like, I'm always very aware of that. Like, I don't, you know, it's just not comfortable. So anyway, that is the annoying thing about that store. Blah, blah, blah. Doesn't matter. But yes. And then let me move this out of the way. I have this little organite pyramid here, which I love. And that's peridot in there, which is my birthstone. So Leo here. And then moving up, so I have these lovely flowers here. These are fake as well, but I just really wanted to bring like more, like, I really miss the greenery of my old house. It was so beautiful. I miss my little patch of wilderness so very deeply. There isn't much green around here. It's mostly concrete. And there is potential for this place, like, the soil needs to be built up here. It's very, very sandy soil. Until like a few more streets back away from the beach they've got nice soil there. So anyway, I've just got to do, I'm learning. I'm I have a black thumb, and I'm trying to alchemize that into a green thumb. So at the moment, you know, not so lucky, but there are a few established plants here, and then there is quite a bit of space, you know, to sort of put in like, yeah, garden stuff. So anyway, I am slowly working on that, and I would like to have green again. But yeah, that's something I miss, is green out of every single window at my home. It's something I miss very deeply. And the birds, you guys, oh my God. Here, occasionally I hear birds, and it's like a deal. Like, honestly, every time I hear a bird, I'm like, oh, bird! And like, I'll say it out loud, you know, to whoever's nearby, and they're all just like, think I'm crazy. But I'm just used to, you know, before I was like serenaded with birdsong literally all day, you know, and it just, I knew it was something I was going to deeply miss, and I do. Anyway, so what I'm doing is I'm just bringing in plants into this space, and again, nothing will live in this room because it's too dark. So fake plants, but anyway, they still liven the place up a little bit, so that's nice. And then I have this amazing picture. Look at this picture. I love it, you guys. I will link the artist down below so you can check out her store. She has really beautiful pieces. And this piece, what was it? I think the Oracle. I think that's the name of this art piece. Now, I've had a hell of a time, you guys, finding a frame for 8 by 12. So this is an 8 by 10 matte frame there. I thought it would be easy, so I got this, and then I've got another picture on my ancestor altar, 8 by 12. Can I find a decent 8 by 12 photo frame? No, I cannot. I really like the frame this one's in, but I would like it to be bigger so that I can actually see the entire picture. But anyway, for now it is what it is. I just need to get a bigger mat for that one, which is fine. But anyway, it's just been a whole ordeal. Like, it's what I spent many months, you can see my hand, hello. What I spent many months trying to find decent frames. But anyway, I do love that one, but that's there. And then in front, I've just got some spell work that I'm working on. And then here, okay, so this thing here, it's literally a candle holder with a bowl stuck on top, but I just loved the whole thing going on there. This is where I'm extracting the sea salt. So all I do is I pour out some of the salt water, ocean water, into this bowl, and then just like leave it for weeks on end. And by the end of it, I've got this crusted salt at the bottom. Incredible. So I was really excited about that. I had it poured there for the energy of the ocean. Like, it was just kind of a general energy for my altar. And then I just kind of left it. Like, I kept meaning to sort of, you know, I don't know, do something with it. I just, you know, I was like, oh, I need to get to that. But then I left it. And then, yeah, the other day I checked it and there was all this salt. And I was like, holy shit, I'm doing this again. Like, this is amazing. Now, I actually have, if you want to try this yourself, I've actually put vodka in the seawater as well to keep it, you know, preserve it so it doesn't get all nasty. So I don't know if that's something, yeah, that, you know, would deter anyone or whatever. But vodka is very sacred to me. That is the drink of my ancestors. You know, my grandma used to make vodka. It's big in Poland and, you know, that sort of area of Europe. So yeah, vodka to me is a very sacred drink. Not that I drink vodka. I used to drink vodka, but now I'm a red wine drinker if I drink anything. So, but vodka. My husband likes to put on a Russian accent and say, everything's all right with enough vodka, or something like that. Anyway, moving along. Now at the back here, I have my sort of Morrigan section on top of this little box here, as well as a hand. What's it called? I was going to say taxidermy hand. It's not taxidermy. Mummified hand. It's super cool. It's got like palmistry stuff on it as well. So it's got like the different palmistry areas, and it's just really fucking cool. I really wanted a palmistry hand, and I was looking and all of them were just a bit fugly, you know, and I was like, and then I saw this one and it was relatively expensive for the fact that it's just a hand that sits there. But I really loved it. So I got it for myself. Anyway, and now it lives on my altar and I adore it, and it's just cool. It doesn't have any magical purpose at this time. Palmistry is something that I'm interested in learning more about. I just kind of haven't, you know, given myself over to that study as yet. There's just, you guys, so many things. I feel like I'm a really busy person now. I didn't used to be so busy, and now that I'm working quite a bit, it's just difficult to fit all the things in. You know, I mean, this is a standard like adulting problem, you know, fitting in all the stuff you would love to do along with all the stuff that you need to do. So anyway, haven't got to the palmistry yet, but I will one day, and that little palm will help me. But in the meantime, it just looks fucking cool and it's sitting there. And then I have, from Earthly Alchemy again, I have that image of the Morrigan. Absolutely love it. I've had that sitting on my altar before, so you guys can go back and have a look at those, or will have already seen it or whatever. And then I've got a crow skull right there sitting on top of some black salt, and then I've got a little oil. This is the Morrigan's oil, as well as a candle for her. So this candle holder, super cool, right? I found that in a charity store as well, op shopping, as I do find a lot of my things. And the beads that are around it there were actually created by Anya Orga here on YouTube. And I don't know if she still has a store open at this point or not. If she does, I'll link that below as well. I'll link Earthly Alchemy too. Yeah, but anyway, I just like had the idea of like draping these Morrigan beads around the candle holder, and I was like, oh my god, I love it so much. So I have that there, and then I've got, I don't know if you can see him, a little crow here. Let's zoom in and have a look at him. There you go, you can see him there. This is a little candle holder which is there for my familiar spirit. So that is a candle that I burn for him. And then over to the side, you can see that I have this pink skull candle. Sorry, it's not a skull candle, it's a wax skull. It's not actually a candle, but I found that in a charity store quite a few years ago now too, and when I found it I was like, it's such a ghastly color, like this like fucking pink. I mean, it's more dirty than it used to be now, it's not as pink as it was, but I was like, you know what, like I love the shape of it. So I just find like there's a lot of like skull crystals and stuff that you can get. I don't like the cast that they've done. Like they look like, I suppose maybe they're like Neanderthal skulls or something like that. I'm not sure, but I don't like them. I just, they're not human. Like, I feel like I'm digging myself a hole here. I just don't like the shape of a lot of skulls that are out there, okay? And when I saw this one, I was like, oh, it's perfect. Like, it's anatomically correct, you know, really cool. And I was like, if I don't get this, I'm going to regret it. It was $5, you guys. And it's huge. Like, it's really big. So anyway, I've got this pink skull wax thing now, and it's really grown on me too. Like, I absolutely adore it now. So the color, that is, I adore the color. And down the front here, I've got my card of the week right there. So 2 of Cups this week. So what I do is each week I draw a card from the Rider-Waite, and then I draw the same card to put, and I keep that on my desk, and then I pull from the Mary L Tarot the same card, and I keep that on my altar. It's just kind of like a different perspective, and I adore the Mary L Tarot, but I really like the Rider-Waite as well, which is so funny, you guys. I used to hate the Rider-Waite. Like, I thought it was so ugly, and I was like, I'm never gonna have this deck, right? Like, I think it's gross. I really had some feelings about the colors in the Rider-Waite deck, right? And then I purchased it for a course that I was going to do, which fell through, and that was a whole thing. But so I had the deck. So I was like, well, I've got the deck now. Anyway, but it's so weird. It really grown on me over the last few years. Like, I don't know at what point I started using it, and then I was like, I love this deck. So the Rider-Waite is a deep love of mine now. So anyway, I have that over on my desk with Mary L here. How gorgeous is this bag too, by the way? Hang on, where's my finger? There we go. This tarot bag. I have a few from this person who made these. It's just a store on Etsy. I'll link that down below too. For those of you who are in Australia, Sacred Creations, maybe? I'll have to find it, and I can't remember. Gosh, I was looking for tarot bags for the Rider-Waite actually originally. And I was looking for tarot bags and I couldn't find any I liked. Like, they were all very sort of samey and just like not doing it for me. And then I came across this woman's tarot bags, and they're nice and big, as you can see. The Mary L Tarot is quite a large tarot deck, and it fits perfectly in there, as you can see. Like, it's gorgeous. They're all the same size, these sort of larger ones. Anyway, so I found one for my Rider-Waite first, and I was like, I love this so much. And then I purchased this one for my Mary L, specifically for the Mary L. And then I have another bag from her as well, which I keep my bone set in. So I'll show you these bags at some point, but I just love them, and I've never seen any tarot bags before or since that I've really loved as much. So anyway, that's there sitting up where you can see it because it's so pretty. And then I have this plate here, which I don't know, maybe some of you remember as well, with just like a little gypsy wagon on it, and it reminds me of my ancestors, although it's actually quite sort of looks a little Japanese, I would say, sort of vaguely. I mean, it's clearly not Japanese art, but looks a little bit like Japanese art. And as far as I know, and my skin color would indicate that there is no Romani in me, no traveler folk in me, but you never know. But anyway, I just, I really love that, and it's just something that I keep there. Now moving forward slightly, seashell, rose quartz, cool elephant. Elephants with their trunks up are said to be very good luck and to welcome in prosperity. So he's just super cool. I actually found him again recently. So I bought this, there's two of them, they're a little pair. But I bought this years ago when we were living with my in-laws. So when I was living here before I moved to the other place, 5 or 6, I would have bought it 6 years ago or something like that. Anyway, I never got to use it because we were living, as I said, with my in-laws and had like one little bedroom for us. But I was slowly purchasing things for our house. And so, I don't know, anyway, I bought this and I had forgotten about it. So it was in my grandmother-in-law's garage. Okay, so it's a whole family affair here, you guys. You have no idea. So are you ready? Okay, so the house that we're living in now belonged to my husband's grandparents, and he bought it off them, I don't know, like 10 years ago or something like that. But we only, or he only bought the house portion of it. So the backyard, it was actually subdivided. The backyard was sold, and my husband's sister actually bought it. So her and her family have built a house and they live in that now. And then down the street, his parents live, and next door to them, his grandma lives. And across the road from her, 2 sets of his aunties live. So his aunties with their husbands, they live there, as well as actually, I think both of them have their kids living there, some of their kids living there at the moment. So one each of my husband's cousins live there as well. And then down the street from here is another uncle. And then a little bit more down the street from that, one of his other uncles just passed away this year. But then behind that house, one of his other cousins lives. I'm not making this shit up. And I think that's all that's in this suburb at the moment. And then there's other close by, like, okay, so both of my parents-in-law come from families of 7. They're one of 7. My husband is one of 4, and he has 28 cousins. So it's a really big family. Anyway, it's actually really interesting to live here, and this is something I might talk about in another video, but this is like ancestral land. It's so fascinating. So the suburb I'm in now used to be 3 farms, and my husband's grandmother's dad owned one of the farms. So the land that we're on right now is ancestral land from, you know, several generations ago. It's very cool. And there's a little church up the street, and my husband's great-grandfather built that. And the school that my son goes to now, he's actually the 4th generation to go there. And that was actually land given by that great-grandfather to the local community to build a school on. So anyway, it's just crazy. It's really interesting. Like, now that I'm kind of more into spiritually working with ancestors, to be on this space, like, I feel protected like I never have before. Even though I lived here previously, I wasn't very aware of all that kind of stuff. And look, to be honest, it was kind of hell. Like, I lived in the same house with my in-laws, right? Like, it was not good for any of us. It was just, there was too many people. It was insane. Anyway, not good. So, you know, wasn't kind of feeling the vibes then. But now that I'm in my own place and aware of all this kind of stuff, yeah, it's very, very interesting. Why was I saying all of that? Something about an elephant. Anyway, we've got Baba Yaga here. So this is my Baba Yaga section. Today is her day that I give her offerings, so I've got to change up that pear. It was really interesting. The other day, I just felt she wanted pear, and she's really sucked it dry, let me tell you. The interesting thing with offerings, right, is that, like, spirits, of course, don't physically eat or physically consume offering, although some people will tell you stories that may make you think otherwise, let me tell you. But they actually feed off the the energy or the essence of whatever it is that you give to them, whether it is food, beverage, incense, smoke, you know, whatever it is. And it's just very interesting to see the state of that pair compared to the other pairs that were bought at the same time. And I can definitely see how she has just really, yeah, enjoyed that. Asked for a pair. I think I'll give her some other fruit today. So I have that there, and then she has her glass of whiskey there. This little cup, isn't it gorgeous? This little glass. That was another one that I found in a charity store as well. And as soon as I saw it, I was like, oh my god, it's for Baba. So anyway, that's hers. And then I've got a crow foot in front there. And then this beautiful candle holder. Where's my finger? There it is. This beautiful candle holder there, which is for her. And that has a white candle, which I am not burning much at the moment because again, like I said, it's really hot. So we're heading into the summer solstice here. So I tend to burn a lot of candles during the colder months. Like, it's practical and it's gorgeous. Like, I love burning candles and I really enjoy focusing a lot of my practice around candle burning. Yeah, and in winter it keeps me warm. But in summer, like, oh my god, like when I lit up the altar just before to show you guys, I was like, oh, it's so hot in here now. Like, it's so much hotter. So anyway, I'm not burning that at the moment, but I do have this little candle at the front here. And each week I also give her one of these little tea light candles. So I was giving her black tea lights. That was the whole thing. I was talking about black tea lights before. But then the issue was that I ran out when stores closed over COVID. And I was like, fuck, you know, like I can't give her these black candles anymore. So anyway, I found what I could find at my local grocery store that was selling these little orange ones. So I was like, you know what, that's a little something special. They smell really nice too. So she's getting those. And what I do is I carve her symbol that I have created for her into the candle. I anoint it with some of her oil, which is here, which I made for her. So that is still, even though it's hot, that will continue that practice. And then a little bit further down, I've got the Seasons of the Witch. Seasons of the Witch Oracle here. I love this deck. I love it so much. So I don't have many decks. I don't really purchase them for myself very often at all. I think I have 8 decks. They're all spread around the place, but I think there's 8. I'm very picky with decks. Like, I don't like to have a whole lot of them. Like, I really want to get to know the decks that I have and build up relationship with those decks. And actually, there's another one just over there. Both of these two were impulse buys. So Seasons of the Witch and then the Modern Witch Tarot. And I adore them. They're my favorite decks. So I've got 2 of the cards here. These are the ones that I pulled today, so Elements and Altar. And Elements is stalking me at the moment. You know how you get cards that do that? They just keep coming up. So Elements at the moment and Altar. The cards are so beautiful. What really sold me was the poetry. So you can see there's, you know, some little written stuff on each card there. But these little poetry moments are what sold me on the deck. And I was like, I need that deck. But I've really fallen in love with it. And the guidebook is beautiful as well. So yeah, it's a deck that I'm loving, even though it's a very Samhain, you know, dark half of the year deck. Like, I'm using it now, and like, I'm always up for that. Like, being in the Southern Hemisphere, I feel like we naturally are very good at harmonizing, if you will, or moving between, you know, that life-death energy. Because down here, we are always very aware of what's happening in the Northern Hemisphere. Like, most people live in the Northern Hemisphere, most witches live in the Northern Hemisphere, so most of the stuff that we consume is for the Northern Hemisphere. And what I actually really love is that lately I've been seeing a few more Northern Hemisphere people actually acknowledging the Southern Hemisphere, which is so nice. So like, you know, they talk about, oh my god, it's Samhain, blah, blah, blah. And then some of them actually mention, oh, it's Beltane, you know, now down in the Southern Hemisphere, or whatever it is, right? I really appreciate that. So if any of you guys are content creators from the Northern Hemisphere, just know that, like, even that small acknowledgement goes a really long way to making us not feel so isolated down here, and to making us just feel, I don't know, seen, I guess, and acknowledged. Because it you know, it would be really nice if we were all kind of doing the same thing at the same time, because there's all that excitement at different periods and that sort of thing. And yeah, it can just feel isolating down here. So like when I was first practicing, all I came across was Northern Hemisphere stuff, and I was like, am I the only witch in Australia? Like, I literally felt like that. Like, I hadn't found anyone, and I thought maybe there's no one else. You know, I was so naive. And now I know there are a bazillion in Australia, in New Zealand, in the Southern Hemisphere, you know, in the different, there's not many countries, but in the few countries in the Southern Hemisphere, there are practicing witches all over the place. But anyway, so, as a Southern Hemispherian, I move in between those energies, especially as now my work with the Spellcasting Club, like I'm doing our live rituals. So we do live rituals for many of the Sabbats, not all of them. But of course, most of the people in the Spellcasting Club are from the Northern Hemisphere. So I'm like extra tapping into that energy now, like rather than just being aware of it, like I'm really going there and getting into it as I prepare for the ritual and am there sharing space with everyone who is going through that time. It's just very interesting. But anyway, I adore this deck and the Modern Witch Tarot as well. And I have a garnet paired with that. I love my garnet piece. And actually that was from that crystal store as well. And then next to it I have another carnelian, because one can never have too much carnelian, especially if you're a fire sign, right? And then I have my cat's whisker. I collect my cat's whiskers. They're really wonderful to add into different oils and brews and things. So one thing, for example, that I have added cat whisker into is my black cat oil. So anyway, they're really wonderful magical ingredients to add into formulas. Moving on to the last leg of the tour, I probably should have tidied this up. Normally I'd make it prettier if I was sharing it, but that's all right. This is real and what it is. So this is where I like to burn incense. So I like to have a platter or something underneath to catch. I always try and, like, you know, you try and angle the incense just right so that all the ash will just go on the incense holder, but it never does. So it's actually quite messy at the moment. I need to wipe that down at some point, but that's right. It's all magical goodness happening, so that's fine. So this is where I burn incense, and I've also got my little cauldron burner in here. So I've got a few different cauldrons. This one is I specifically use for burning stuff. And then I have a few herb bundles in there, a little cone incense that I made. Now, I shared a little bit about making cone incense on Instagram a while ago, just mentioning that I was going through the process of like playing with it. I haven't found a recipe that I love yet. Like, I'm still playing with it. I'm been able to make some really nice cones, but again, the scent isn't exactly where I'd like it to be. So I'm still playing with it. But I did mention that I would share that when I had figured it out. So I'm still figuring it out. But this actually is a recipe of, again, the Lady Grave Dancers. I was looking up different people's recipes, and I tried hers, and it binds really well. Like, I really love the way it's come out. Again, the scent is something I just want to see if I can play with, to see if I can get some that are just on point, you know? So I'm working on it. And then I've got some other oils and brews and things. I've got some moon water here. And then here, I don't know what this thing is. I assume it's for like holding coal. That's what I thought. I'm holding like coal discs or something like that. But I actually found it at an op shop the other day, and I just thought it was so beautiful, and I got it. So I don't know if I'm ever going to use it for anything, but I've got it sitting here now, and yeah, I really adore it. And then just to finish up, this is going to be the longest video ever, you guys. Oh my god, I've clearly missed speaking to you. Can you tell? Clearly I need to get back to making YouTube videos. I hope you guys have enjoyed this. I assume you have if you're still here. Down here I just have a little bottle of dandelion that just fell off the shelf the other day, so I just haven't put it back up yet. I was thinking about, umming and ahhing about putting it into an oil I was making. I was like, is this a sign? Am I supposed to put dandelion in here? But in the end I was like, no, I don't feel like that really is a thing. But it had just come down, so I don't know, maybe I'm going to do something with dandelion soon. I like to follow these sorts of synchronicities, although usually I get a sense. So like, if now that I'm sort of practiced at this, but if something falls off the shelf and it's like for me to use, I usually have the sense of, oh, this is for me to use. And with this one, I think it just fell off the shelf, to be honest. And then here, this, oh my god, you guys, this is my newest mortar and pestle. So this one hasn't even been used yet. I have cleansed it and I have consecrated it. I guess that's the word that you would use. So it's like ready to go, and I'm so excited about it. I got this from Amazon, and I've just been eyeballing it for like months. And I wanted it so much, and then the other day I was like, fuck it, like I just, as a present for myself. I did a bunch of work a little while ago. That's why you've heard me say, oh, I bought this for myself, I did this for myself. I worked my fucking ass off and I got, rewarded nicely. So I was like, you know what, I'm gonna buy a few things that I've wanted. Anyway, so I'm so excited about this. I haven't used it yet. I was going to perhaps get into something today. What's really interesting is I was so tired before I started this video. So I was like, oh, like I'm not really feeling the energy, of like doing craft right now or whatever. But now that I've been gas bagging, I actually feel quite energized. I've missed you, YouTube. All right, so the last thing is my wand. Look how gorgeous this wand is. I love my wand. Let me show you closer. And look at that, isn't that stunning? It's got 3 labradorite pieces. That is just a dirty spot, don't mind that. 3 labradorite pieces, look at that. I love it so much. This was a gift from one of you guys. He knows who he is. When he opens his store, I will share all that information with you because, oh my goodness, this person has incredible taste, let me tell you. Anyway, this is my wand and I love it so much. I don't use it that often because I just find that I'm more of a hands-on person. I like using my hands with my magic, but sometimes I do use this wand and I always have it sitting on my altar. It feels very, very powerful to me. Like when I pick it up, like, ooh, it's just like that instant connection of like, yum, But yeah, it's not a tool that I super often use. I'd love to hear from you guys. Like, do you use wands? And if you do, like, I don't know, like how do you use them? What do you use them for? Like obviously they are for directing energy, but I don't know if you had any little things to share about that. I found like I was really interested in learning about wands quite some time ago, but the only sort of stuff I could find was like about like the ingredients of a wand, like about the crystals and the wood and the different kinds of wands and stuff, but not a whole lot on like using them. And I mean, I'm not doing a very good job of actually asking the question right now, so I don't know if there'll be if that's a good prompt to even get you guys to sort of talk about it there. But anyway, wands are interesting, so if you have anything to share with me about wands, I guess let me know. So there we are. There is the Alder tour. I hope you guys have enjoyed this. It's been really fun chatting with you again. I didn't realize I had so much to say. I've done this in several different clips, so I have no idea how long this video is, but I suspect it's quite a lengthy one. Podcast, right? It's like podcast length, yes. Yeah, this has been awesome. It's been really awesome to chat with you all and just share a little bit about magical stuff. It's a really unique and wonderful thing to actually be able to share magic or share, different magical things in this way. I'm still posting on Facebook and Instagram, but it's very different, doing that as opposed to like verbally, typing things out and sharing pictures is very different to verbally sharing. I really like this modality. So I will be back in the new year. I'm very, very excited to be posting again then. So it's still going to be a little while. All right, don't rush me. I've just got some things that I'm going to put in place first. It's just a busy time of year and all that sort of stuff. But I can tell that I'm ready now, and I'll talk more about that. So our first video back officially, I guess this is kind of it, but like, when I get back in and I'm like, all right, this is what's been going on, I'll just kind of explain to you like, or share with you guys about that whole process. It was weird. I didn't expect to not be uploading YouTube videos anymore. It just kind of happened, and it literally took me 6 months to admit to myself that I was taking a break from YouTube. Like, that's how much I wasn't expecting it, It was just a very bizarre time, but we'll talk more about that at some point. In the meantime, let me guys know. Let me know, you guys, if you have any questions about anything you've seen here or anything else. But yes, I really look forward to coming back and chatting with you guys more. I've got loads of video ideas, which is very exciting. I sat down the other day and just like did a thing, and I've got like 25 video ideas. So I'm like, yes, like we're fucking back. I'm so excited. But anyway, I will see you in the new year. In the meantime, I'm sending you so much love and many, many blessings. I hope you have a gorgeous Christmas, Yule, summer solstice, Litha, you know, whatever's happening in your world. And I'm wishing you love, blessings, joy, prosperity, and magic. See you soon.